Hello, Zuko here. My name is Jess, but I go by Zimmy on the internet because one time I was 15. So today I'm going to be doing the Bedtime Book Tag. The original tag as well as the questions, as always, are linked down below, or I guess just posted down below in my description box. So if you're interested in doing this tag yourself, that's where you can find the original. So I wanted an excuse to do a video in my pajamas. By the way, this is my Squishmallow Pug, because my normal pug doesn't like to sit still for videos. Or to cuddle for too long, as he is a furnace. So I have this pug instead. He looks very offended. He's sitting right behind me. Or right behind you, I guess. Don't look behind you. There is a very tired, grumpy old pug. So the first question in this book tag is, what book kept you up all night reading? Yes. Got two answers for the last week. The first one would be Siege and Storm by Leigh Bardugo. This is the second book in the Grisha trilogy. I was up until 4:30 last night reading this. I had like 80 pages left and it was 3:30 in the morning. And I was like, I could do this in an hour. I could do it in an hour. But I should be responsible and go to bed. So naturally I read the last 80 pages of the book in an hour. And then I went to bed. I really enjoyed this one. And I'm just spoiling my wrap up for the month. But I did the same or very similar thing with Fell the Dark by Caleb Roehrig. I finally decided that I was going to read this book and I had to finish it that night. So I was up very late finishing this book as well. So like a lot of the books I've read recently have kept me all night reading, which is I think that's a good thing. Question 2 is, what book made you scared to go to sleep? As an adult, currently as an adult, I don't think I have a book like that, but when I was younger, there was a story in one of the Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark books about a like vampire that came out of the cemetery and attacked this girl who lived on a farm. And I used to live on a farm about a kilometer away from a cemetery, a mile away, give or take. So for a while, that one really got to me. And also when I was like a teenager, I read the first like 9 House of Night novels, and in one of those, there are these like bird people creatures called the Raven Mockers, and there was just this description of them flying around and like killing a bunch of people, and that really freaked me out because it was the middle of the night when I was reading that book. But I don't remember which House of Night book it is, and I don't know that I recommend House of Night anyway as an adult looking back. Question 3 is, what book almost put you to sleep? Almost? I have some books that did put me to sleep. I tried to read Asylum by Madeline Rue, and I fell asleep. I was listening to the audiobook and I just let it play, and it was so boring that after I fell asleep I woke up to like the last couple pages of the book being read, and I didn't bother going back and listening to them all because while I was awake I was so bored that I didn't want to listen to it, so I was glad I listened to the rest of my sleep. I kind of technically listened to it all, but mostly I count that as a DNF because it was such a boring and not well written book. Question 4 is, what book had you tossing and turning in anticipation for its release? My pug is barking behind the camera because my cat's being bad. Okay, a book. Any of these have me tossing and turning? Honestly, I feel like Fell the Dark was like my most anticipated book release this year because it was a queer vampire book. So that one I was like really hyped about for a long time, and I would probably say that one right now. I've had books where I was like super excited because I was waiting for my hold to come in at the library. I know I did that with one of the books from the Holly Black, like the Cruel Prince Folk of the Air trilogy, and I did that with the third book in the Maze Runner trilogy. Yeah, out of new releases, I think this is like Fell the Dark is probably the most recent one. Question 5, what book has your dream girlfriend / boyfriend? As a adult who reads mostly YA, none of them. They're all teenagers. No offense, but as an adult, I'm good. I'm so okay with no. Like as an adult, the idea of like being interested in one of these teenage characters makes me so uncomfortable. Like none of them also feel emotionally mature enough for me to ever be like, yeah, I have a crush on them. I guess in Fell the Dark there was like a 400-year-old vampire, and I'm like, yeah, okay, but he was also physically like 16. So no. I'm gonna say the Darkling, because he's also like many many olds and an adult. He's like evil, but like I don't know, that's kind of, it's either that or like someone's parents. I don't want someone's parents to be my boyfriend / girlfriend. That's weird. So sorry, by the way, if you can hear my dog licking his face in the background. He's very tired, but he's upset that I'm not in bed with him. Question 6 is, what book would be your worst nightmare to live in? Any dystopian books like The Hunger Games, Pan Am seems pretty awful. I wouldn't want to live there. Maze Runner, their world is bad and doesn't even make any sense. Unwind is probably one, because I feel like I would have been unwound as a teenager. I feel like those are the main ones, those like dystopians where like teens die. I'd like to not be a teen who is sentenced to death if that could be at all possible. And for me it was, so like I'm those ones. I'm gonna say specifically, it's on the top of this pile, but putting this down. White Stag by Kara Barbiri? Only because right there it says a Wattpad sensation. And the idea of Wattpad is a nightmare to me. I've never been on Wattpad, but I've seen things that have come out of Wattpad. And I would like to unsee things that came out of Wattpad. I didn't notice that sticker. Not sticker, I guess. It's fully printed on the book. I didn't notice that when I bought this book. Like, it's from my local used bookstore. And I was like, this sounds kind of neat. And then I saw that and I was like, what did I get into? So I really hope this is good. But anything that has the word Wattpad on it, it's probably looks like it looks like a nightmare to me. Question 8. What book had a nightmarish cliffhanger? I feel like when I read the Ashes trilogy by Ilsa J. Bick, every chapter ended on a cliffhanger, and every book ended on a cliffhanger, including the end of the trilogy. So that whole reading experience was a nightmare cliffhanger. Like, there wasn't a time where you finished a part of that book and weren't left on a cliffhanger. Every single chapter, every single book, the whole series, just cliffhangers. Question 9, what book have you actually dreamed about? I don't think I've dreamed about any books as an adult, but as a tween, I sure had my share of, like, dreams about Twilight. Is that embarrassing to admit? I feel like I was 12. That was fully half my life ago. I can admit that I had dreams where, like, me and Edward Cullen were running away together or something ridiculous because I was a child. So I feel like it might just be that. Is that embarrassing? Should I be embarrassed? I'm not, but should I be? And question 10, what is a book monster that you would not want to find under your bed? Full disclosure, I don't think I want to find any book monsters under my bed, be it like actual literal monsters or just bad men, because I've read a lot of zombie dystopians where it turns out man is the real monster. Blah! I wouldn't want to find anyone under my bed. But if I had to pick specifically, I don't know if I've read enough spooky books. I feel like the like spookier books that I've read were all zombie fiction and I was younger. Can't think of anything that like specific. I guess I wouldn't want to find the Ravenmockers from the House of Night books. I wouldn't want to find them under my bed because they truly freaked me out as a child. Yeah, I can't pick someone specifically because like I feel like there's not a lot of monsters that really stick in my head later, like after I'm done reading the books. Or I haven't read a lot of horror maybe as an adult. So I don't have anything specific. I just would rather find nothing under my bed. I think right now under my bed it's too small for anything else to go under but a bunch of cat toys that I now can't reach because it's too narrow for my arms to go under. And I think I'd like to keep it that way. But yeah, that's the bedtime book tag. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that you also don't want to find any monsters under your bed. And yeah, if you watched my previous video, I did say I hadn't read the Grisha trilogy. My previous video as I'm filming this is coming up tomorrow and was filmed a couple weeks ago, and by tomorrow I might be done the Grisha trilogy. So that's fun. Time is weird and inconsistent. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed it. I'll see you whenever I make a next video, and get hyped for Halloween content because I'm hyped for Halloween content. It's gonna be some tags because I like tags and I like Halloween. I never really know what to do for content. Right now, I think tags are kind of fun. Anyway,